So the initial cards have been dealt out. Both players have a hand of cards. I have to make the decision who goes first. That's the Patriot player's choice. What we've got is 2 loyalist opportunities here, both of which basically just convert opportunity points into action points. Okay. We have Fabre's bookstore, which requires an urban organization. And if the mobilization in Montreal exceeds 8, I get 8 action points. Otherwise, I get whatever I have in Montreal, which might not be worth spending 6 on. And then there's this one, which, strangely enough, it's a 6 action point card. Well, it adds 2 cubes in Montreal, that's worth 4, and 1 cube in 2 rural counties, that comes to 6 anyway. So it's only really worth doing if it's sitting in the opportunities, because otherwise you've got a more limited capability. Well, not necessarily, because there are these penalty points that you have to pay at times. Anyway, now I have to go through the tricky position of, hey, who wants to go first? I hate making that kind of decision, especially, first time playing a game. You're really like, oh geez, what do I want to do? Usually, in a Twilight Struggle type game, it's probably better to go second, unless there are things that you absolutely want to grab, that you need to get the lead on. So I don't remember too much in this game where you have to grab something. I think the big thing is that you want to make your play just before the scoring track gets fired, or something along those lines is kind of what comes to mind. There's nothing, like solidifying control in an area in a way that makes it harder for the enemy to get at control or anything like that. In fact, the more that you control the area, the more likely your opponent is able to get things cheaper because of the action point reduction for catch-up. One thing I haven't seen in the game is what the bias matters. I don't know if there was any mention in the rules about what impact it has, but there's some things like this which are actually specific to a specific operation or card. So we saw it here, for example, I think. So whatever, maybe we'll learn as we play. All right, now we're going to look a little bit at the cards. The Patriots have decided that the Loyalists are going to go first. Now, the Loyalists could just fire off a governor's privilege. Certainly not that. Certainly not that. Maybe, but whatever. I don't see anything that I want to fire off with. Okay. So otherwise, I've got some cards that you can kind of look at it and say, I don't mind if I play this. So for example, this one, I don't want to play it right now, but it's a 2-point card where during the parliamentary rounds, it's worth 4 victory points if it's in here. But if I get past these, I can play this safely, throw it in the opportunity pool, and it doesn't do me much harm. Granted, I give an opportunity point. Some of these others maybe are a little less exciting for me. So I'm going to actually go for this because it gets me some rebellious spirit right away. Rocky Elections. And stack these. At Duibantagnes. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't make it easy to find, but, well, I was looking right at it, so it does. That's going to give me, I can either play that for 2 action points, but getting Rebellious Spirit up is more valuable to me. So that's what I'm going to aim for. So we each get, got to be quiet with these cubes. My wife complained when I was throwing them in there. Well, today, after I was throwing them in there. So we each put 2 in here, which doesn't actually change anything, right? We did not gain control over rural county. But we push this up, and that's something we wanted to do. This card is now discarded because we played it for the event. Well, it's also an allied card. I don't know quite what to do with it. I'm going to put it up there. Boy, that's dusty. Okay. And Now we go over to I don't know what that is. Okay. Now we go over to the Patriot side. One of the most important mechanisms in this game, we have to roll an RC die as well. And that gets me an EI. And that'll move the scoring track forward one. It's the timer in the game, the cards. I would like to get me an organization. And that's not trivial to do. Not at all. I have a big number of AP here, so this is probably the most likely. But I don't know that I want to play this. The Patriot Activities card, if played from the Opportunity Pool, perform actions worth 4, otherwise choose between, well, this is a horrible event, and gain 2 Opportunity Points and put the card in the Opportunity Pool. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to use this for its 4 points. But on the other hand, maybe I want more points. So I'm going to play this. It's 6 action points. And I am going to try to create an organization for it. So I need to do a mobilization check. Remember, 3 dice. Target number is the mobilization value, which is 3. Plus the action points spent. That puts me to 5. And I have nothing else. Oh, jeez. I gotta get some chits. I gotta get some chits in there. The reason I want to do this is I want to play this card, but it uses the organization die, which isn't necessarily terrible, but I want this for a bunch of cubes. So let us instead get a bunch okay. Let's put this in here now. Let's see what my AP are. These are special actions, right? Do we have normal actions on here? I don't think we do. Oh, here we go. Urban mobilization. They cost 2 points each. So if I spend this, I can get 2 more mobilizations in Montreal. My goal here is to get an organization. What is the Parliament effect? Oh, fuck. I gotta think about the Parliament effect before I do this. I think parliamentary out here was one of the loyalist cards. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna place 2 of these here. Gets me up. And urban counties, I have not increased my urban counties at all. We're still split. So that did not help me in terms of that. I get to roll a die of my choice. I'm going to roll the rural counties die. If I can find it. There it is. And we got to kind of roll it up someplace softer, not on the board. It's too loud. We get a rural counties marker forward. And that's no score. We got rid of this card. It's an 1834 card, not a base card. I'm going to put these over here until I clean that. All right, that gets us to the second turn of the game. This is a card I kind of want to play with, in part, the desire to do a strategic realignment and give the Patriot all these green cards. I don't particularly like them, but we'll see. Anyway. Yeah, I don't want to do that until we're out of the parliamentary because we don't want to just give them some victory points. Which means I don't really have anything from my hand I want to play. However, there are yummies here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 6 of my opportunity points and grab this. And I can only play the event, but I get 6 action points for that. What do I want to do with those action points? Well, that's a good question. The rural communities is ahead in the external influence. I can't do shit about external influence. That's, you know. However, I have the advantage there, so that might be appealing to me. I think, though, that I am going to probably grab myself some more rural influence to take some of the points away from him there. Do I need an organization? I don't feel any great desire for one right now, even though this is a decent amount of points, and I might be able to get one in Quebec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we're just going to spend on these, I think. And I don't think there's anything here we particularly want to do. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to do things like here. I've got the catch-up bonus, so I don't have to pay this extra 1, and that takes a point away here. And I'll be making hunts like that where I can get one cheap or where I can get control of a provincial area. I managed to vastly drop the provincial areas. Now I get to choose my type of die. Well, I'm going to go with the external influence because that's where I have the edge right now, really. And indeed I get that. And then this is a 34 card, so it goes in that pile. Given that I want to create the organizations, this is the coolest card I have, actually. So, I am going to spend all 6 of my opportunity points to fire this thing off, which means I probably might, well, I might want to do 4 action points on the arm moment and get 6 more back. And this is for the thing. So I get 2 cubes in Montreal, and I don't have to pay the extra there. And 1 cube in 2 rural counties, which again, we'll try to boost our points up there because we're going to be getting a rural county die roll. In this case, I'm looking for where there are good prices for me, right? These are ones where I'm okay paying a penalty, basically. So I will play there and there where I would be paying 2 each for them. And that gets me 2 more of these, and I get to roll the RC die. Oop. This is a generic deck, so we'll put it over there. And now we're leaving the parliamentary. And at this point I get a cube in Quebec and 2 victory points. It's just what happens every parliamentary, which doesn't change anything there, but yay. And now we're into turn 3. A couple of options here with the Loyalists. One thing I can do is what I kind of was planning on was pay this for 4. 2 of them are going to be for the for something. Where was the exchange of the hands? Exchange cards. Okay, so 2 of them would go for exchanging cards. The other 2 maybe keep playing in that rural counties. Otherwise, I'm really not sure what I'd want to do. But the other side of it is, I don't mind playing this, and actually it has an EI, which could get me some victory points. So I think I'm actually going to play this card. It gives me only 2 APs. There's not a whole hell of a lot I want to do with 2 APs. Let's find some counties that I want to catch up in or beat. So we can catch up in these 2 counties at an AP each. And that'll drop this back down. this will go over here into the Patriot pool. The Patriots will get an opportunity point, so they actually have enough to buy this, but the event is useless to them now. And we roll this die. And it's a rural county mark. And now back over. Now, the one thing is, had I switched hands earlier, I got more of a chance of getting their good stuff, you know. I don't like my stuff, so what the hell. Now, I'm going to play this Loyal Activities card to give myself 6 action points. That's the Patriots. And the first thing I can do, well, one thing I could do is keep upping Montreal, but I don't know about that. I'd rather use those points for something else. So I'm going to try to create my organization here. My organization chance is what? Target number is number of MV. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Plus 2. That's the minimum I can spend. So that gets me to 9. That's a fair chance. And remember, I can bid it up afterwards. Well, that's not so good. So I have to spend 3 more of those action points in order to get there. So that gets me up to 5. I've got 1 more action point. And I've got to get that organization in play. Let's see. There's one. We'll put that over here. We just got an organization, which is kind of cool. What can I do with 1 more point? I don't know. I have to think. I can certainly boost something, but on the other hand, maybe there's other more useful things. Yeah, I think the best I can do is put a cube down somewhere. We'll take a rural county back. Okay, and what do we want to do for the die rolls here? Well, our rural counties are not doing as well as I'd like. I think I'm going to roll the organization die instead. Now this card goes over here and gives him 1, 2, 3 points. And we get a rural counties anyway. And that moves us to 4. With 4 AP, I'm going to spend 2 on this. What am I going to spend the other 2 on? My chance of an organization is low. I'm not terribly excited by it. I can't do this yet, so I'm just putting cubes. Let's try to get 2 rural cubes in play, I guess. Where do we want those rural cubes? Well, nowhere's really jumping out. There's 1. Took command there, that's the advantage. And now I'm not seeing... there's 1. Okay. And now I have to roll the UC. Oh, now I do the strategic realignment. And that'll be at the end of my action round. But I have to roll a UC tape card first. And we get a UC. Which is not particularly exciting. This is essentially out of play, as is the generic card. Wow. Yeah. Okay. And now we exchange hands. And remember, I've played more cards, so I get kind of a good deal out of that. And now the Patriot has to figure out what to do with this totally different hand of cards. My problem is I want to get this played. I don't have very many opportunity points available to me right now because I spent some. So I have got to do an arm moment. In order to do that, I need 4 AP. I don't have that easily with anything except for this. So that is what we will play. And that is going to give me 6 ops points. At this point, I've got to make sure that I spend one. So otherwise I'll not get as many as I should. And I get to pick the die I want to roll. Right now the organizational die is actually my best die. However, in the long run it's going to be the rural counties, but I don't want to fire that off quite yet. So the organizational die, it will be... I don't really trust this like roll one die where it's, I don't know, where you pick it up after flipping it around enough. So yeah, we get an organizational space. I don't really trust big dice to begin with. And let's try not to trip this time. That goes there. Throw that in the box, and that is the end of another turn. I have an event I want to play here. Add 2 cubes to Deal Montal. And +1 to the Rebellious Spirit. So this one would have only cost me 1, but this one would have cost me a couple. So I'm not that far off in points, and much more importantly, I get the Rebellious Spirit up. This is a generic card. And back over to that side. I'm unhappy because I lost the card I was planning on, this 78,000 names, and I don't really see, I don't think they're going to play it for me and put it out there. They might play it as the last card here, you know, but even then, it still gives me 4 points and the ability to play it. Here's one problem I have. I can't play this, which I kind of would like to, which would give me more opportunity in Montreal, or more cubes in Montreal kind of cheaply, but at the cost of opportunity points. That's not available to me. What I want to do is this, but do I want to do it right now? I would like to get, I'm going to play this for 2, and I'm going to put a cube in Montreal. Okay. And that gets me a UC. The reason I'm doing that is so that I have 8 cubes in there to fire this off. And we get a UC. And that's an 1834. That pushes the turn marker forward. I'm going to keep playing around with the rural counties, the Ragtag Coalition. That's 6 cubes in counties with patriotic mobilization exceeding the mobilization. I'm sorry. The Patriot, yeah. These are loyalists, not patriots. We're the Patriot, but no more than 2 in each. Well, there's some nice things I can do with these. So... let's see where we're exceeded. We're definitely exceeded here, but we don't get the benefit out of that. But if we place it here, we take 1 away. If we play here, we take 1 away. And if we play here, we take 1 away. And in each case, we would have paid an extra 1 because there's a +2 in there. This has an EI for the die, not a rural counties, which is kind of a pity. I would like to score rural counties. That's really hard probably to get a loyalist advantage on. But instead I get an EI, which has some victory points on it as well. And now back over to our Patriots. With the rural counties marker as far ahead as it is, yes, I could get a big swoop of points off of this. My other option, but the thing is I could use that to get my organizations up, which would be kind of cool. Or I could use this, which would give me a piece in Richelieu, Let me just see. I don't know where these places are. Richelieu's there, that would give me a point. Vichers, which I thought I had seen earlier. That would give me a point. In Dumontois, which would also give me a point. So I'm going to play this because that gets me 3 quick points. That 8 would be bigger, but I would like to not do that with the rural counties if I can help it. And so I've swung this 3. It's a generic card, it's mine. Goes there. Okay. And I get to roll a rural counties, which, may get me a point, but it's really not an optimal. Yeah. Okay. And here's where it's ugly, because I get a penalty because of fear of reprisals. Fear of reprisals, currently we're at a 2, so there's no effect whatsoever, so I'm okay with that. And then I get a victory point. I don't know where my victory points are. Hey, I'm winning. And then this is reset to the beginning. And that is the end of the 6th turn in the first little era. Forget exactly where these were. That was here, I think. This might have been there. Those have to actually go on the board to remind you that you can't keep playing multiple ones of these. Yeah. Okay, but meanwhile I'm trying to figure, because I keep looking over here, hey, is there one of these I want to play? You can't do that. You can only play 1 per turn. I'm going to play this loyal activities here, drop a couple of cubes into Montreal to try to regain, to try to get an edge in the urban category. And I'm going to roll the EI table because, hey, I got the victory bonus on that. Interesting. Okay, so that hits the score. I get 2 victory points and it's reset. That's difficult for me. And this card is nothing special. Back over to the Patriots. I'm going to spend for this, but what am I going to do with those 8? The rural counties is not very far along. The organizations is actually probably what I'm going to aim for. And I can do multiple organizations as long as I don't fail at any of them. If I fail at one, I think that's when I get in trouble. I will look up that roll just to make sure. I forgot something. The success of the organization in Montreal was actually worth 2 spaces on this track, not 1. The rural organizations are only worth 1. I'm still trying to look to see what's up with this. If a player fails a check, he can't create any more for the rest of his action round. Yeah, okay. So that's the whole thing. Let's look at what my point values for creating organizations would be. It's going to be the targeted county's MV plus the action points, which is 2, plus a rural organization bonus. Which is either 1 or 2. Right now it's only going to be 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. I could get that up to 12 with a couple of points, but I think the +1 might be good enough. Let me see. I'm not too thrilled with most of what I have, but I can get an organization here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not very good. Ooh. So that's going to cost me 2 more. So it cost me 4 of this. Oh, I had to spend 6 of these to trigger this. Okay, so I've got 4 of that spent. That's 4 out of 8 spent. And I got an organization there, which let me pop out of the counters and put here. And we gain one more organization. We're doing quite well on the organizations, and this gives a die roll for them, so that's kind of cool. Oh, I've spent half my points already. And obviously, other places I'm not as impressed with my capacity to organize in other areas. I could steal the urban county's advantage. 2, 4. I would like to get another organization somewhere. So what's this? This is 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really crappy with 3 dice. Yeah, let's just steal Quebec. Yeah, we put the urban counties up to a 2. And that's all 8 of my points that used this up. It's a generic card. We're in the last turn, or last round in this turn, or however you want to put it. Play this for the event, which is 1 cube to 2 rural counties. It can be any 2 rural counties I like, so I'm sure I will get something good, like there's one. And there's one. So that's pretty cool for me. Over to this side. I held onto my points here because why? I don't know. Because I don't know what the game's going to be. So the general elections is actually a key event controlled by the Patriots. So that's a slightly different thing, and that happens at the end here. None of these go away, if I recall correctly. We'll see what the programming is. I kind of don't want to lose these, but yeah. And I don't want to play that, and that puts me over here, and he doesn't have a lot of choice. He could pay 2 for this, he cannot. So I must play this, which is either 3 cubes in Versailles, which doesn't sound very useful, or 2 cubes, or let us take Quebec over, and that's a rural counties die, if I can find that die. Instead we get an organization, and this is a 34 card. So it goes here, and that puts us between the turns. Now it's time to do some of the maintenance between the turns. Okay. What do? Key events are discarded. Patriot gains 6 opportunity, Loyalist gains 8. Okay. Oh, fuck. Instead of putting this and getting that urban county, I want it to do my call for calm. Have to do that. Have to do that. This is the call for composure. In 1834, it's only 2 action points. Later on, it starts getting more expensive. But hey, I do not want that advancing. Okay. If the rebellious spirit marker's here, we flip it. Otherwise, it would advance. If this is a turn for a deck, the last turn for a deck, we clear the hand and the opportunity pool. But otherwise, we go back to the start of the turn, and it's late, so we get the top card of 1834 and generic deck and the general elections key event. So we get one of these and one of these. And I'll look at what those options are in a bit. And then we get our hand, which is, so he has an 1834 card, so he's only going to get 3 of those. His hand is empty, so he gets a full replenishment. Both people end up at 7 cards with the right disposition. I made enough ground there. I want to take at least a little bit of a break. I don't know if I'm going to be coming back up tonight, but we've made it through the first turn in the game, and we'll see if, we'll make it through that 1834 period, I think, and then probably load this up, but we'll see. I don't know how much detail I want to keep going, but with a game like this, what's it about other than the card plays and all the little actions and everything? So it's kind of like, you kind of have to focus in on every little piece to it, which is, of course, that modern design technique of like make every decision count, so that you're not like pushing counters around across a long way. Well, I don't really feel like every decision counts all that much either, but I do feel like I don't have that sort of, I'm doing this in general, and then I can come back and show you how that worked. Because the mechanism is, with the cards, is so complex and so, in terms of like, it has its own little sub-decisions and everything in it that are of a different nature than like, yep, I outflanked over there, whatever. The Patriot looked at his own cards, doesn't see anything that's really, hey, I want to go first. I'm also looking at some of these options. I've got the general elections, which are my key event. Those can only be played on rounds 6, 7, and 8. I want to make sure to play them because, well, assuming my mobility, assuming I can get certain counties, these guys, the advantage in them, I get a victory point for each one I have the advantage in. So that's pretty cool. And this thing is useless to me. Pity. That would have been a great card. But this one's very sweet, but this is going to cost me 6 action points. At the start of each of your Saint-Baptiste action rounds, you get a victory point and a cube in 2 distinct random counties. Granted, I lost 1 here, but there's still 1, 2, 3 of these left. So that's 3 victory points over the game, plus 6 more pieces. I'd really like to play that, I think. Both of these, of course, might trigger organizations, so there's a reason maybe for me to build more organizations. Of course, I also want to get the counties for the elections. And, it's kind of these games are always, there's so many things you want to do. Which one is the important one? So I'm going to pass the turn over to the Loyalists and let them go first. Play the Quebec Mercury here. That gives me a cube in Quebec, which changes the urban counties back to even. And it adds 1 to Rebellious Spirit, and I'm always in favor of adding to the Rebellious Spirit. This is a generic. Oh, we're still on 34. That'll put us over here. Patriot activities for a bunch of points in rural counties. Moved with a score over a little bit. I get to choose the die roll I want for this. I'm planning on rolling a lot of O's, so I'm going to roll another one, try to score twice this time while I have the organizational advantage. Hey, I get 1 to score. Because there's a danger to the rural counties card. Okay, so we go here, we get the victory points. That's 6 big victory points. That's huge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we reset it. Gotta remember to do this. I'm going to play this thing, which for the event adds 1 to Rebellious Spirit. I like to pump that up as much as I can. And that's urban county die. Which pushes that forward. Card. I've got this big 6-point card here, 2-point card, that's 8 points. I've got to make him give me some points or figure out some way to get points. I've already spent the arm moment. And then, yeah. The other problem here is Okay, I could exchange for this. This might be my worthwhile thing to pull this sucker out for 2 points. Is there something that I'm really not that impressed with? I don't really have anything that crappy. Shit. Of course, I could play this in conjunction with something else. So, for example, I could play the Patriot abilities and put that, and then be able to play this card more easily, maybe trading. I don't have any shitty cards, that's the problem. I mean, so like the red cards, I don't really want to put out there. This one, you know, 4 APs for 1 external influence track mark. Yeah, that's probably the shittiest I have, but it's still 4 APs that I'm spending in addition to the 2 points that I'm burning there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this sucker and get myself 6 cubes in rural counties. Kind of wanted to hold on to that a little longer. That's why I was looking at these suckers. But see, this one I would get 6 APs and that if I did it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend this card for 4. One of the 4, or 2 of the 4, will be to flip this. Get that out of the way. The other 2 will be to play the partisan media. By the way, I noticed this allows you to influence. I think I leave this here, and then if I play something from my hand, I get both values, so that's kind of cool. Now, this is available to the loyalists, but that's okay. However, I did spend this, so I unfortunately get an external influence die roll, which could generate some victory points if it ever gets around there. One of the opportunities that's out here, I'm probably going to play one of these, just one of these 2. One of the opportunities that has a really cool event. The Patriot has to discard a card. If he doesn't do so, you get a lot of victory points. Otherwise, you get less victory points. But if he discards a 6 AP, he scores victory points. It would kind of suck if he's discarding like a 6-point loyalist AP that I really, want out there or whatever. So I'm really not sure I like the idea of playing this unless I know his hand, So I'm probably going to play one of these to try to get some points where I need an organization, among other things, but that's less important right now than some other stuff. So I'm kind of having trouble figuring out, what I would want to do. This is always worth doing, but I don't have to do it right away. So I'm really not sure which side I want to go with. Having so much trouble deciding anything, I'm going to spend 4 of these, getting me down to 9 to trigger this thing. That gets me one of these, and a roll again on the external influence. But we get an urban counties instead, which is going to score it. No points score from that. Oh. Attrition. Okay, this is per, and this is per player. 2 victory points to opponents with county with MV equals 0. I don't know what that means. You can knock the opponent completely out of a county, you get that. Okay, so now we got no points. This gets reset. Attrition, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes. Means he loses 2 of his. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we lose 1. And here it's 5 and 4, which means we each lose 1. I guess. It's hard to tell what's worthwhile and what's not. We stack the deck playing this thing, 6 cubes in rural counties. We concentrate on the electoral ones, get the rural county card way up there. This is actually really good. It's going to be an organizational roll though, which again, I would really like to get my organizations up, but they're so expensive. You need to have a lot of activity to make them worthwhile. And at least I have the edge still, unless the loyalists do something. That pushes us. We're getting closer and closer. It's 6, 7, and 8. I forgot about this. This is also played. Hold on. And that means I get another 6 points to spend, which I gotta think about. I wasn't counting on that. Extra points just went into additional rural county spaces. So now this is where we are. This is played, so it fills the space. This neutral event out, and it's a mixed bag. +1 to the Patriot on the external influence, but a 4-point war readiness marker, which means if it does go to a revolt, the loyalists are in much better shape. So, do you want to do that or not? I don't know. And that was used to get Le Canadien so that we can get points. Now we're getting closer and closer. I don't know what to do. I don't know. So hard to make decisions. We're going to trust in luck. We got a big 6-point card here. I'm going to throw that into an organization here. I figure maybe an organization will do me some good other than just scoring. So that's got a 3 value, +1 for here if I recall correctly. And I don't think I'm big enough. I wasn't big enough to get a +2 before, and I doubt that I am now. Yeah. So that gets me up to a 4. +2, because I have to spend at least 2 of the action points. That gets me to a 6. That's a shitty roll, but I got 4 more points, so I can go up to a 10 if I want. And instead I get very, very lucky and get an organization there. And now I have 4 more points to spend, which I don't know what I'm going to do with, but yeah. Obtained a pretty good advantage in the rural counties. I'm going to roll the rural county die roll. And instead I get an urban county. Such is life. Okay. And that puts us back over. Now I have the advantage here where I have this big 6-point card that I'd love to discard, and that's why I played what I did. I spent this. And this is just gone. It doesn't get scored in any sense. But the organization roll goes. What I built with it was I'm building up Montreal. Why? Well, because I could take Montreal away from him. But also, why not get my organization in the one that's competitive, since I can play in both. And I also played to reduce some of the rural counties. And I get the urban county track again. Interesting. Alright, over to the Patriot. Playing this, for 4 points, I dropped control of Quebec into my hands. I stole Quebec and took control of it. That's what you get for playing in mine, right? Yeah, okay. Whatever. But that gives 2 ops points, or 2 opportunity points to them. Puts that there. And I have an urban county roll, which isn't going to score, but it does move us closer, and we're in very strong shape in the urban counties at this point. That's going to push us into time where the election can actually be fired off if I choose, which I probably will, except that the Patriots are going to try to muck with me there. They're going to try to muck with me. Okay, so I get to remove 1 Patriot cube from 3 rural counties. What's huge about this is I can take the elections away. And that's potential victory points there. So this one is very valuable. I'll take that one away. Let's see. No good here. This one's kind of valuable. This one's very valuable. Takes one away. And yeah, I think this is the next one. I don't mind if they tie us. I just don't want them to be ahead for the elections. And that'll be a rural counties card die. But it's the urbans again. Whoops. Okay, we score the urbans. Well, that's not good. That's 4 more points. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Patriots are doing really well off this. However, now there's attrition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 cube and 2 cubes. Oops. And that loses me control. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 cube each, which isn't going to change anything. Okay. I think we're ready for the Patriots, and they're kind of like, well, I got to make up some of that ground again. How do I do that? And that's getting harder and harder. Choices look so awful. I can add another victory point. I just don't see what I can do with my choices otherwise, though. I don't have a chit I can play. I played one already. I have garbage in my hand. This one affects some of these. So this one I do not want to play. So I'll play this one for its 4 AP. Excuse me. Which means, what do I want to spend? Well, these are expensive. That's expensive. That's expensive, damn it. This one costs me 2 to get, and that just got me a victory point. But now I don't have anything that's just begging to be taken. So I am going to play what? God damn it. Yeah, I don't have any others that are worth so little. I could play here. Let's put this in Montreal. Give myself another UC. This should be there. Okay. That gives 2 more options, operations, whatever. And keeps throwing cards under here. Truth of the matter is, I'm probably not going to go for this one. That puts us back over. I'm going to spend a pile of ops points and get a big card. That gives me 6 ops. Among other things, I'm going to knock out any locations like here where, you know, I can take away the victory points for the elections. The elections may just not happen. That's, you know, it's up to the Patriot player whether to hold them. Those points getting rid of, making it harder to win those election spaces than it was already, and dropping the rural counties down. What do I want to do with this? Well, I want to roll the EI die, obviously. That's my friendly die, and that's my choice. That's the only one that's in my favor. I thought about throwing into the urban counties and trying to gain control of them. I mean, I could bring it back to neutral one way or another. But I'm worried about an election generating a lot of victory points. So I did not want to do that. 34 card. So now we're over here. He would get 1 victory point off of playing that general elections. Now it's a cheap card, but I could grab this, which is, you know, potentially gonna be 1, 2, 3 victory points and 3 cubes. Oh, sorry, 6 cubes. So I don't know. And also, well, they're both organizational cards. So I don't know. I don't know which way to go. I don't particularly want to play this card, but I can play it as my last card, and it won't hurt me one bit, except to give him some opportunity points. So I think I'm going to play the Jean Baptiste. I just don't think 1 victory point's worth doing. Of course, this drains my opportunity point pool. I got to see if there's a counter or something for this to remind me. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I can put it up here to remind me. Loyalists have to do something about this game. 1, 2, 3 victory points for them. That was just getting too close. And unfortunately, perhaps we have an organizational die roll. Organization isn't, yeah, that's a lot of points. And there goes an organizational marker. God, I gotta do something about that too. All right, now that puts us over here, and all he has is this big 6 card that he wants to play. He can't play one of these. He could buy this, maybe. No, he doesn't have enough points, so this is really his only play. And officially that goes here, and gives 3 points. But, and I think I actually run him off the chart because of that. He gets like 8 per turn or whatever. Oh well. And let's see. I put some points up into the urban, which didn't give me any victory points, but gets me more opportunity to build more organizations. I will like those organizational points. They're getting high on the track. That seems like a good thing overall. And organizations they don't go away or anything. Like, these things go away. Your popularity goes down with that. I did not find anything for this, so I just have to remember when I hit those spaces to take them into play. I also modified the rural counties a little bit. I'm going to have to do a recount of the rural counties, but let's do the cleanup between turns, just to make sure, because it's possible, you know, that track moves a lot. But first, key events are discarded. So we had 1 key event. We'll put that up there because it's something special. And then we get our 6 and 8 points. He loses a couple essentially because I spent that big card. If the rebellious spirit marker's there, we flip it. Okay. This is the last turn of the deck. All cards in the player's hands and opportunity pool are discarded. And see, this is not a bad thing to lose. So, you know, losing cards is not bad at all. And these are generics. The 34 deck is gone. And we'll be resetting the game with the 35 to 36 deck at this point, which I have to obviously shuffle. I do my recount, and I think we're far enough along in this that I'll load this up after that, but I'm going to do that count and make sure my numbers are right in the fucking count. I've come up with 2 very different numbers, neither of which match that. So we'll try again very carefully this way that you can catch me. 1 to the Patriot, 2 to the Patriot, 1 to the Patriot, 2 to the Patriot, 3 to the Patriot, 4 to the Patriot, 5 to the Patriot, 6 to the Patriot, 7 to the Patriot, 8 to the Patriot, 7 to the Patriot, 8 to the Patriot, 7 to the Patriot, 8 to the Patriot, 7, 6 to the Patriot. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I really don't fucking know. I'll try counting again, because I think that's the third number I've come up with out of this. This time I've put cubes everywhere, because now I just clean up those cubes, and if I get them all, which is a big if, of course, and if I don't remove any that I shouldn't, thereby giving score and deleting. Okay, so I've got 4 cancels out. 4. I got 2, 4, 6, 7 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, still a couple off, but I've gotten that number before when I counted. I don't see any cubes lying around on the board out of place. I don't think I took any off the location. So this is where it belonged, supposedly. The Patriots may have like an extra victory point or something because I didn't count earlier. I don't know. I hate this kind of mechanical tracking. Not in the sense of like, I don't know. Only in the sense that I know that I'm going to fuck it up, and I know that I won't be able to count it accurately afterwards, which is just a really shitty feeling. But yeah, we're going to send this one up, and then we'll set up for the 35 to 36 turn over here. So far, everybody's played one of their things, which means all but one turn. Yeah, there's one turn that you can miss, basically, if you want to take full advantage of your little special abilities. The Patriots have done this both times, so I feel pretty comfortable about that kind of side of things. Like, I'm not completely blowing my options victory point wise. That's a big lead. I've heard things about how do you stop the Patriots early in the game. I don't know. Does it really matter? It's not like the game ends early, you know. But maybe it's a matter of they can win the 20-point victory early in the game pretty easily. And maybe I'm incompetent with the Patriots. They're certainly off to a lead, but that lead doesn't mean anything if at the end of the game, you know, if the game's not going to end due to a Patriot victory. And they're supposed to do better at this point in the game. They're supposed to do worse once you start getting the possibility to crush the revolt or whatever.